Hi guys, welcome back to Statistics with Mr. Robeson. In the last unit, we looked at all the different ways to collect data. So now we're going to look at ways to organize and display that data in this unit. So first we're looking at bar graphs, and then dot plots, and then pie charts. Most of this should be review. All right, so first up, variable types. So when we're looking at these graphs, we have different kinds of variables, and different kinds of variables will give us different types of graphs. So we have our two types of variables. We have categorical variables, which are labels. We have quantitative variables, which are numerical values or numbers. All right, and depending on what we have for which variable types will give us which kind of graphs we can have. What does the distribution of a variable mean? Well, we talked about that before, but it's all the values a variable can take, as well as how often the variable takes those values from the actual data, or from probabilistic models. So if we're looking at probability distributions and things like that, we can do that as well. But for now, we're going to look at from actual data type stuff. And how can the distribution of a variable be organized? So we looked at tables, and we also had graphs. So we're going to dive into graphs a little more here. All right, so first up, we have bar graphs. So down here is an example of a bar graph. All right, so we have a categorical variable. So our category here, for instance, was colors, and frequency counts. So the axis here, the vertical axis, is the frequency of each time, or each occurrence of each color. So the question here was, what's your favorite color out of the colors listed? So we had pink, blue, orange, green, and purple. And we had 8 people that said pink, and 10 people that said blue, and some orange and green and purple, and so on. There's not much in the way of calculations we can do with a bar graph, so we don't do much with bar graphs, really. We can say, what was the most favorited, and we could say that was blue. We can say how many people were surveyed, and we can add up the total here from all the bars, and then we can figure out the probability of blue or things like that. Do notice that we have a title, and we have our bars labeled here. So title and labels, important for graphs. All right, so question for you guys. A bar graph deals with what type of variable? All right, well, hopefully you said categorical. Remember, it's categories, and we're counting how many times in each category. All right, the next graph we're going to look at, and we looked at this a little bit earlier when we were doing our M&Ms this year, M&M by colors, is a dot plot. So a dot plot could be categorical, in which case it really is just a bar graph. So each dot represents usually one data item. So like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people said popcorn was their preferred snack. I don't know why you do that when you could have M&Ms or Kit Kats, really, let's be honest. All right, but you can also do it, and it's more often done with quantitative variables. So like when we made ours, we had how many of each color there were, and that was a quantitative variable. So like so in this case, there are 2 data values at 30, there's 2 data values at 32, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 data values at 31. All right, so dots being stacked up means there's more occurrences of that data value. There's only 1 of 40, there's only 1 of 16. Dot graphs are nice because we can tell where's most of the data. We can find the median by counting the number of dots, then finding the dot in the middle. We don't lose the data values, so we still have 100% of the data values. They're just listed as dots instead of a list of numbers. So that's what's good about dot plots. You can also see the shape. You can also see if something looks like an outlier, like maybe 16 and 40 are both outliers. Like we can kind of tell that sort of stuff from a dot plot. So we do like dot plots. All right, so we always start from the bottom and go up. So the dots don't start floating up here in space. They start at 20 and then slowly go up. All right, and we almost never label the vertical axis on a dot plot. We just count the number of dots up. We don't have to have an axis going up and down to tell us. All right, so here's a dot plot question. Which gender goats have lower median weight? So we've got a dot plot up here for our male goats. We've got a dot plot down here for our female goats. And these are measuring weights for our scale here. So which one do you think is going to have the lower median? Okay, so the lower median. So for the males, I'd say the middle is probably somewhere in, I'm not going to count all the dots, but it's probably somewhere in this section here. We got a good number of dots over here. On the left side, we got a good number of dots up here. On the right side, those will probably cancel out. Our median's probably going to be somewhere in here, somewhere between 60 and 80. For our females, so we have some that are up here, but most of the data is down here. So I would say the median is probably somewhere in there. Right? If you wanted to, you could count the dots, and on the AP exam, that's probably what I would suggest doing. But our median's probably going to be somewhere around here, and it's pretty easy to tell that the males are going to have a higher mean or median weight than the females are. You could probably also tell the median, or the mean and the median from these. All right, so our answer here is the lower one will be the females. All right, another graph. I really haven't seen these show up in the AP exam, but I just want to go over it with you. So we have pie graphs or pie charts or circle graphs they're sometimes called. They're percentages of a categorical variable. So they're taking that bar graph and they're saying what percent is each section, and then they're throwing it into a circle where each slice represents that percent. In this case, it's the discretionary spending of the U.S. government in the year 2015. Military seems to be taking up 54%. All right, and then you can check out all the rest of these things. This is actual data, by the way. All right, so a pie chart question. What accounts for the third largest source of revenue? So now you just saw where they were spending it on. Where are they getting the money from? So what's the third largest source of revenue based on this pie chart? All right, so hopefully you looked at this and you said, okay, well, this is the biggest one. So this is first, income tax. So we bring in a lot from income tax. Next, payroll taxes. Like the orange section seems to be the next biggest. So this is second. And they are going in order here if you're curious. So the next biggest, and you can look at the percents here, 13% is the next biggest. Corporate taxes, that is third. So that is the answer to our question. Corporate income tax is the third largest source of revenue. All right, so that was a quick recap of bar graphs, dot plots, and pie charts. Really, dot plots are probably the most important ones out of those. All right, I'll be back next time with a couple more graphs. I hope to see you then. Bye.